Hello, you hottie hot hotties. Welcome to Wild&T with Tara.
Teddy.
Tawny.
And the dad, Mark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's kick this episode off with a new little segment that we want to call Tawny's Obsessions. Tawny, what are you obsessed with?
So many things, which is why we have this segment set up. But today I want to talk about, I guess, a winter obsession, and that is snowboarding. So I I only got started in snowboarding like 2 years ago. I think this is my third year snowboarding because Aaron, my husband, snowboarded before. I don't know, not like when he was a kid. But anyway, so we live somewhere that they have ski resorts nearby, so we decided to kind of get into it and try it out. And if you've never been snowboarding before, it's kind of terrifying.
It is,
especially when your husband straps you in, takes you to the top of the hill, and goes, "Okay, go ahead," and you're just kind of like, I've never stood on a snowboard before. You want me to do what now? So it's been a trip. I've gotten bruises in places that I didn't know you could get bruises in. I've smacked my head against the snow so hard that my hat went flying off. I bounced on my back, fell flat on my back and bounced. And that hurt too. Wind knocked on me. Yeah. But I haven't broken anything and I've had a really fun time. So I actually really enjoy it. I think I'm ready to graduate from the bunny hill, but we'll see. But today I had a really cool experience with snowboarding, and that's why it's my obsession today. Because so we went this morning, and I, for the first time, was able to get down the hill twice without falling, and that's a new record for me.
Job.
It was 0.
Very nice.
Thank you very much. I discovered I'm a little bit weird when it comes to snowboarding because most people, when you want to kind of curve from side to side on the hill, you keep whatever foot you're dominant with in front, and that foot stays on the whole time. For whatever reason, I can't do that. I don't know why. I just have a really hard time with it. I've tried.
Yeah,
so I switch. Yeah, I go left to right, like left foot in front, right foot in front. And that's just what works for me. So today was really exciting because the last time that I went down the hill, I actually I get strapped in and I'm standing there and I'm starting to go. And this guy was standing there with one of his friends, and he's in front of me and he scooches into my way as I'm already going, and I'm like, dude, pay attention, please. And then he keeps scooching in my way as I'm trying to scooch the opposite way, and he's still scooting into my way. And I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, I'm either gonna hit you or I'm gonna barely be able to get around you. But there were also 2 other people that were sitting down, and so I kind of finally get to scooch around this guy, and I start going, and I hear one guy that's sitting tell the other guy, oh, do you see how she stayed straight like that? And I was like,
you were an example? A good example? Oh my gosh.
And it went straight to my head.
You're like, yep, I did stay straight, didn't I?
Am I a pro?
Oh my gosh, I'm so good at this.
Am I better than everyone?
So and then, of course, I couldn't fall the rest of the time because, just in case they were watching, that'd be really embarrassing. And I actually, this time around, for whatever reason, everybody wanted to be in my way. So this dad and his little kid are going side to side on their skis. And they go in front of me one way. And I'm like, okay. So I go the opposite way. And then they go back in front of me that way. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Move. Let me get in front of you first. Mm-hmm. And then this other little kid is in this class. And the class is way on one side of the mountain, on the hill, on the slope. And he's on the other side of the slope. And poor little kid, is trying his best to get up this hill on his little skis. And he keeps sliding back. He goes like a foot and slides back. Goes a foot, slides back. And so I have to come to a stop because we're at the point that either he's going to get in front of me right as I'm about to go around him, and then I'm going to bowl this little kid over, or he's going to slide backwards if I try to go the other way. So we're at that awful spot. So I come to a stop in the middle of a hill, And I managed to hold this stop until this little kid ended up sliding backwards and I was able to get around him. But anyway, so that's why I'm currently obsessed with it, because I feel really good. I'm kind of on a high today that I actually was able to control myself and figure out how I can move on a snowboard without falling and be an example.
Nice.
Mastered
I mean,
the bunny hill. Look at
I
you.
think that's perfect with our guest, our father, who was a skier back in the day. And did you run into a lot of snowboarding, skiing conflict going down the hill?
Snowboarding was brand new back when I started skiing, and it wasn't really popular. It's kind of like the skater kids of the day.
Mhm.
So where did you go snowboarding today?
Today I was at Liberty Mountain in Maryland.
Okay. So I learned on Little Round Top in Maryland, and that was where I first went skiing back when I was 15 years old.
Wow.
So the first day we were out
Very-
was really crazy. We were starting on the bunny hill, and my little brother, he was like 2 years younger than me. He's holding on to the rope, and the rope jerked forward, and he broke his leg. It broke his
Yikes.
tibia right there, and
Oh my
Mm.
he went to the hospital, and the leader there took him to the hospital. He got a cast on, and we'd only been there like 20 minutes, so it's kind of shocking.
That's how you knew he wasn't cut out for it, right?
He didn't have a career in skiing at all. I think we went up there like 2 or 3 times, and then a couple of years later, I found myself in Utah, and I went to several different ski resorts. Sundance was one because it's close to BYU, and Snowbird because I had some friends on the street who had a bunch of passes to Snowbird. That was crazy. Sundance was all ice, so we didn't like it too much.
Mm.
But my favorite one there was Alta, and so did a lot of time at Alta. And I would take my friend Larry with me, who was like 2 years older than me. He says, I love going skiing with you because you have the most spectacular crashes.
He's coming across the side hill, extremely high speed. He loses his ski, hits the gate, and then it's a free fall. It's extremely steep in the Zeal chute.
And
When you
I know,
crash,
I was-
you know how to do it right. That's so funny.
my skis, my poles, my hat, my goggles, they'd be scattered down the side of the slope. And it'd take a while to collect
Scattered.
everything.
Dad crashes and everything goes flying.
That's the truth.
Like those cartoons with the bones.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But I was coming down one day, and you're coming down, you see on your right, on your left, where you're coming down behind somebody. And so I yelled up, on your left, and the kid stepped to the right of me, or stepped to the left of me, right in front of me. And so I had to kick and get around to keep from crashing. I was doing like 30 miles an hour. And when I did, I ran right into the side of the cut on the ice, snapped one of my skis in half.
Mm.
And I spent
At
the
least it
rest
was
of
a
the
ski.
day like that. That was rough. That was hard.
Yikes.
Spent the rest of the day snowboarding.
And one ski, yes. And quite often, so it was
That's
it's broken,
snowboarding with Lauren.
it's broken partway up like this. So it was sticking up in the front. And there was like the bottom had a little chunk sticking straight down. So if I didn't keep it up light, it would catch in the snow and I'd crash constantly.
Oh
I
my
was worn
gosh.
out. Anyway,
That's amazing.
too many stories to tell.
Skiing is fun.
I love skiing. Yeah.
Some of you may die, but that's a risk I'm willing to take.
Yes, I can't skate or water ski worth a darn, but I could ski. Okay, I could crash really well skiing.
Spectacularly.
Yeah.
Well, Dad, that actually brings us right into our next segment, our guest spotlight on none other than, you guessed it, Dad. So, Dad,
Uh-oh.
we want to ta-da! We want to hear a little bit about your background. Like, where did you grow up? You kind of mentioned it a little bit, and just some fun facts. But let's start with where you grew up.
So I was born in Alabama, and by the time I was 2.5, we moved to Nevada, where my dad was from. We were there for like 3.5 years, and moved to Maryland because he got a job working for the USDA. So I spent the next 11 years in Maryland, and I grew up as a kid in Maryland with them. It was very different. I was culture shock coming from the desert of Nevada to Maryland. So, but I adapted mostly, and we had a farm. My dad got a farm when I was 8, and so we started work on the farm. And I love the farm, and I loved agriculture, and so. All right, there's too many stories. I'm not going to talk about the stories because that would be.
Well, let's just point out, Dad loved the farm. He loved hard work, i.e., we thrive working hard, which is what he taught us. We thrive under hard work.
We thrive moving wood from one area to another area. We're really good.
At the beginning and end of the summer, and sometimes in the middle if we had nothing better to do.
We did
That's
it.
mostly your mom, but
Digging a trench for the dog kennel, I think.
Oh yeah. We dug
Or just
footings
holes in
for the
general.
dog kennel,
Yeah.
and it was empty and never got finished. But so that took me to one of my other hobbies, because I grew up in this farm, and we would find arrowheads at different places in a farm. And there was actually an old Revolutionary War site on the wooded area on the edge of our property, and it's been a camping site for who knows how long. Anyway, I really wanted a metal detector, so I got a cheap metal detector, started finding stuff out there, but not a good one, so I only found a few things. But we bring the scouts out there when I was in the scouting program, and do camp outs and crazy weather. Sometimes it was nice, and other times in the winter it would turn from a nice warm evening into a sleet or snow evening that we were freezing before the night was done. But yes, the arrowheads, loved arrowheads. In Nevada, we would search for arrowheads all the time and find them. I had one that I kept for years that my brother had found about 2 feet down in the dirt. And when I saw him again when we were in our 50s, I said, "Hey, I have this arrowhead that you left." And I showed it to him. He says, "Oh my gosh, I have no idea. I thought I lost this."
Aww.
That's
So I stole it.
Forever. Yeah. So what's also that I was always a rock hound. So besides metal detecting it and diving, I took scuba diving at college. But the rock hounding part, the minerals, search for minerals, and all kinds of cool things that never ended.
And who else do we know in this podcast that's a rock hound?
And a scuba diver at the same time. What?
Okay, you got 2 of the 3. I only have animals.
Please put the farm animals, and you have pet chickens.
We're not into hobbies yet, though. Tell us a little bit about. Okay, so you grew up on a farm. When did you graduate high school?
So I decided when I was in 10th grade, I was tired of high school because I was learning the same thing every year, and so it was just kind of repeating everything, which gave me good grades, but I didn't try very hard because I didn't want to have straight A's. That would make my dad expect that all the time. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that.
The rebellion.
Yeah, so I made sure I just got B+, A- all the time. It made life easier that way. And I decided in 10th grade, I want to be out of here. So I went and talked to the counselor, and he says, "So why do you want to get out of high school?" I said, "Because I'm ready to go to college." He says, "Oh." He pulls out the transcripts and looks at everything for testing, and he says, "Well, everything looks good except you had this one SRA test that you failed badly." And he pulls it out and shows him, and I said, "Oh, that was from 6th grade." So they changed the testing. How do you answer the question?
They held a 6th grade test against you in 10th grade. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. Actually, it hurt me in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade till I finally got out of it in 8th grade. And in 9th grade, they figured, okay, finally, I was smart enough to do algebra. Yeah, that was interesting. But the teacher says, "You failed this one. You had 15%. And I said, "That's because they changed the way, because most of them are going horizontally for the answers, little bubble answers. That sheet went vertically. And so I went and answered all of them horizontally. I got there and I said, uh-oh.
Oh, no.
And so I went back and started changing everything from one way to the other way. He goes, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." Just takes it and just writes a void across it. "All right, we'll throw this out." Like, cool.
Wow.
that changed a lot. And he goes, okay, well, if you take this one class for your junior year, you can skip junior and go straight to senior year. So I skipped a year of school. So I was 16 when I graduated, and graduated in 1976, which was really, I thought it was really cool. And
That's cool.
turned
It
17 over the
It
summer and went to a college that fall at BYU. So drove from Maryland to Alabama to BYU myself, just to,
And tell everybody what you studied at BYU.
I was okay. My degree and my course of study was agriculture, crop and soil science. Ag Hort is what they called it at the time. And
So you got your degree in dirt.
yes, actually, I was taking my last class to get soil scientists, but I had 21 credits, and the school didn't like that because they felt like I wasn't paying for the extra class. Plus, 2 classes overlap by about 15 or 20 minutes, and they had a fit about that, so they made me drop the soil science class. Yeah, so I just ended up with straight, even though this is like more than like 2/3 way through the semester, and they caught that. They were crazy there. There were some things I didn't understand. I called in the last week. The last week I was there at school before I graduated, and I get called to housing or standards or whatever. And when I said, "What's going on?" Well, you aren't living in approved housing. I was like, I graduate in a week. I've been there for 4.5 years, and now you're telling me I can't graduate because I'm living in unapproved housing. Well, is it a family? I said, yes, my cousin's family. Oh, never mind. This happens to me all the
You're
time.
like, try and stop me. I didn't do anything.
Yeah. So yes, love farming, love cows, love driving the tractor. My dad said when I went on my mission, I had to hire 2 people, and that didn't even replace all the work I did.
Ooh.
Just call him Clark Kent.
Now I would work that tractor. So
And then you ended up in California.
yes, I actually was trying to get a job there in the local area, and it was 83, and that was like 25% of college graduates were getting placed in jobs. So my cousin calls me and says, "Hey, you can come here. I can be a farm manager. You'll love it." Blah blah blah. I didn't get to be a farm manager because the people I work for, which I won't name, were not very good property managers. They had some issues. They meant well, but finally they said, "Okay, everybody's making over $6 an hour is getting laid off." And I looked at her, I said, "Well, I'm the only one." Like, you got it.
Ah,
It was cold. So I went back to construction, which I did during high school in the summers. And when I was done with that, I went straight to the farm and went back to work and work until we were
I
done
guess
for the
I
day.
never considered when you learned construction, so that's new to me.
Yeah.
I just never asked. I thought I was born with it. I assumed
We just accepted
I
that.
didn't
I knew
consider
everything.
that you did. Yeah, you actually did construction.
I started the summer I turned 16, but I was 15, worked there for 2 months.
you came out of the womb and built your own crib, and then went on from there.
Pretty sure that was my
This is the
Uncle
level.
Fred, yeah.
Uncle Fred made it?
Uncle Fred made his own casket.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes. So.
I think is really interesting is that you moved to California and you raised your family there. And so, all of us were born, raised California. And now I live just about an hour away from where you grew up. Just by chance from Aaron, who's military, being stationed out here. And now I live and just about an hour from where you grew up. And I frequent places that you used to frequent when you were a kid too, for completely different reasons. I don't go to cattle auctions. I go to the mall, but it's just fun for me to kind of see like full circle almost.
Now we
Yeah.
used to go deer hunting in western Maryland, in the Deep Creek area, and the other one, and we'd use rifles there. And we'd go hunting on the eastern bank there, the coast. That was shotguns only, so you use rifled slugs or buckshot to go hunting out there. Never had success shooting anything, seeing anything to shoot when I was at either place. But I found this amazing fossil when I was out there in Western Maryland, and I carried that thing for like 4 or 5 miles. Took it home. I've never seen anything like that before. I've never seen anything else on display like that. And I had it for years until I went to BYU and I came back and it was gone.
What
And my
was
dad had thrown it away, just a rock.
But you had the arrowhead still.
I saw the arrowhead because it was in a little case and nobody ever saw it. So
what was
it
the
was
fossil?
cool. It was so you have seen Star Wars when they come on the ice planet Hoth, right? And they see the generator out there. I don't remember that. Anyway, it was kind of a circular, tubular thing in the sandstone.
So it was like a shellfish.
Yeah, well, the shell wasn't there, but it was completely molded, whatever
Wow.
had been there previously. Yeah.
Cool.
Wow.
So, the other fun thing was since it was Maryland, and we lived just down the hill from a plantation that was Civil War era, pre-Civil War era. I had found between there and the farm in plowing, I found different artillery rounds that had survived being fired, in battles.
Wow.
And that was cool. I had like 4 or 5 of them. Unfortunately, I decided when I was 14 to start digging the house, underneath the house, make a basement. And so I took all my artillery shells in there and set them on the edge of the footing in the house instead of putting them in a box like I should have. So I came back, they were gone. I'm like, where's my stuff? Well, that was just junk. I threw that out. And the reason I knew they were artillery shells because I saw the exact same things whenever we go to Antietam or Gettysburg to the museum there. They're identified. I'm like, cool, that is amazing.
Wow.
So I had that history right there in my hands, and again, lost it.
Well, otherwise you would have had too much to load around after moving out. So you were a little
museum, I guess.
yeah, you would have been a traveling museum.
Well, that's true, but that would be cool. Anyway, I always wanted my family to have the same experiences that I had, because we drove back and forth to Nevada every year and a half or so, and I learned so much more than a kid sitting at home all the time in the neighborhood, and I'm always driving back and forth, and I'm paying attention to what's outside the window and listening to my dad talk, listening to the radio, and just experiencing life. So I wanted you guys to have that same thing. That was cool. We never drove. Okay, we only drove once to the East Coast, but still, we did a lot of traveling.
Oh, it was memorable. At least
yeah,
It was.
yes, it
the
was.
most memorable trip for sure.
Still talked about to this day.
Yes.
Yep. Poor Robbie and Daniel.
Yeah, that's true.
So, Dad, do you
So we
have
did
any
fun.
other fun facts you want to share?
I have a this or that game.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Fun facts. Let's see. I did find a big rock with gold on it one day in Nevada when we were there for a reunion, and I
Me
traded.
too. Not Nevada.
That was really cool. In the what bay was that?
Not where.
Anyway,
On a California coast somewhere. Wink, wink.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Wink.
We won't say it. Anyway, yeah. So I carried that down the mountain, and I thought I need to hide it here someplace. And so I thought, oh, where's the hide it? Well, there's a big boulder, so I put it on top of the big boulder, and I turned it so the gold was facing into the canyon, and nobody ever see it or look at it. I was wrong because it was not there when I came back 2 years later. So, yes, it's cool. The this or that or whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Okay. So, sci-fi or action movies?
Yes.
You have to choose.
Well, most sci-fis are action, and
True.
I loved Clint Eastwood's spaghetti westerns.
Okay, I'll make it better. Sci-fi or cowboy movies?
Mm.
That's worse.
I know.
That's harder.
So my favorite sci-fi movie is Aliens, the second one. And even though there's a lot of cussing, it is so funny. They all get killed almost. But
Spoilers.
what's his name? Bill, not Pullman, it was the other guy. He was hilarious.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Bill Murphy.
So yeah,
That's the only one I know.
that was my all-time favorite sci-fi, I think. Although I really did like Passengers, it was cool. But as far as overall, it'd be the westerns. I'd have to pick westerns.
All westerns.
Mhm.
Okay. Jeans or shorts?
Depends on if I'm wearing them or somebody else. So,
For you.
if it's me, I prefer jeans.
Jeez. Hamburgers or hot dogs?
Definitely hamburgers.
Definitely.
Hot dogs
That
are
has
not
a
good
book
for you.
of hamburgers.
We can
Wait.
tell you the tale of the hamburger, the week of
Wait,
hamburgers.
hamburgers or
You were
steak?
there. You were at girls' camp.
What? I've been there.
Maybe those
I
are-
was-
So yeah,
I've
whenever
been
I was taking
big
care of the
hamburgers.
guys, it was almost always hamburgers because they're easy and quick, and I love hamburgers. Always did. So when I was in Utah in 1980, sorry, I was 79. I was in Hooper, and they had a hamburger eating contest, and so you got one little cup of water, about less than 8 ounces of water. You had to eat as many hamburgers as you could. I still have the trophy from winning that.
With the bun and everything.
Yeah, dry buns, no ketchup, nothing on the hamburgers.
And you won?
I had 10 and a half hamburgers down at the end of 10 minutes. And I was literally choking on them. So,
Yeah.
You said in 10 minutes?
yeah, 10 minutes. You had 10 minutes to eat them.
Gosh.
The next closest
you were-
person had 7.
So you were 20. You were 20 years old.
Uh-huh.
Wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, so what they gave me was a big 2-liter bottle of Sprite for the prize. So I'm sitting there, and I'm leaning against a tree in the shade with a bottle of Sprite on my lap, and it explodes. It just shatters, glass everywhere. I got cut.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Oh yeah, it must have been a glass. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even consider that.
Were
2-liter glass bottle. Wow.
I was-
you
I don't know.
sabotaged by the second place? Did they shake it before they gave it to you?
I don't know. It was really, really cold, and then it wasn't, and then it blew up. So maybe
Ooh,
I had never seen that happen before.
that's
So
wild.
I got shorted a 2-liter bottle of Sprite.
But you have the trophy.
I have the trophy. Still have the trophy. Your mom's tried to throw it away multiple times, but I still have it.
Okay. Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Well, he prefers jeans, so
Yeah,
I like the
but
beach. Oh, so it depends on the beach too, because
Hawaii Beach or Utah Mountain?
Utah, Colorado mountains, all through there. If I had to spend a month someplace, it would definitely be in the mountains and not at the beach in Hawaii.
wow.
Good way to put it, yeah.
Hawaii's
is-
good for like a week at the most.
Okay. This one you kind of already answered, but skydiving or scuba diving?
I don't want to die, so I'll scuba dive.
You
I would
ever
never-
wanted to skydive?
No, and I've seen plenty of reasons never to do that.
I've done both, so but I
I'm
would
glad
choose
you survived.
I would choose scuba diving over skydiving because it's a lot of fun. And it's more than just like a 2-minute high. So
Right. What I love about scuba diving is you can be underwater. I don't have to worry about breathing or drowning because I got air.
To an extent, yes.
My deepest dive was like 110 feet. And I love diving because it's so cool and there's so much stuff down there and there's all this lost stuff down there. So yeah, that's fun to find those places.
fix it yourself or ask for help.
Mostly I'm gonna fix it myself.
Depends on who's asking for help.
Yes, and he's qualified. Yes, Oh, back to the diving thing. I was working with this one guy, friend of ours, in Madeira, and he says we were into trying to recover airplanes, lost World War II aircraft. And so there's a P-39 that had gone down the Columbia River. He said, "Let's go get that." Okay. So we got our stuff together. We drove 14 hours. Yeah. So we drove 14 hours up there, and I think we slept in the car for about an hour after we got there. And so we drove over to the Columbia River. And he says, "Okay, you just have to swim out there, and I'll be watching you." For him, I said, "No." He goes, "Why not?" I said, "I don't want to die." So the water was going like 5 knots.
Yeah,
down-
I was gonna say,
down the
how
river.
fast was it moving?
That's insane.
Yeah, it is 1.5 miles wide, and I'm watching
And
the
I'll
water.
watch you while you die.
He said, "It should be easy. It'll be right out there between here and the island." I'm like, "No, it's not happening. You get a boat, and you get some rope, something to chain me off on, so I can not go blown down the water into the ocean. Then we'll think about this." But no, I'm not doing that.
This has been Wild&T with our guest star, Dad. Love you. Bye.
Love you.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.
Love you, bye.
Bye, Tony.
Thank you for listening to Wild&T. This podcast episode was produced and edited by Teddy Chanboon, Kyron Maciel, and Dallas Hansen. Remember to subscribe, rate, review, and of course, share with your sisters. For more content, you can follow Wild&T on all platforms or our individual socials. See you next week.